Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress Comic News, episode 341. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my returning co-host here, Mike. Mike, how was international business?
It was I So there's some things going on in my company right now. We actually got bought this year, and part of that buying might mean less European management and more local management within the US.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, it's going pretty good, and everybody can't stop talking about how they're very excited for that part of it.
Have I ever explained that joke to you before?
No, I maybe, but tell me again.
So you've seen How I Met Your Mother, right?
Yes. Yep.
There's an episode where they go to the airport to pick up chicks.
Oh, yes.
And Barney insists that they're international businessmen.
Yeah, he's like
So
at the
then whenever I
airport
refer
bar.
to you being gone from the show, I just refer to you as being on international
I
business.
forgot they did that. Oh my god, it's amazing. I mean, it pretty much is what I mean. Like, I'm usually on business trips, and it usually involves someone from Europe, so it technically is international. Wow. I just didn't get the reference. I watched that show so long ago, but now I remember the episode.
Love that show. By the way, we have
an interview. Yep, an international business partner. No,
actually,
he's
from Canada.
Yeah. Okay. So today's an international episode, everybody. Jerome Gagnon will be on the show today. So looking forward to that. Going to talk about some holiday spirits. I know we talked about that before. A horror anthology that I personally really enjoyed. Love horror anthologies. So
coming to a comic shop near you.
Yeah. As this episode comes out, it'll be the day after Halloween, but today is the spooky weekend. So I've been trying to watch some spooky stuff. I don't know if you've been watching any spooky stuff.
I mean, the Fox NFL robot's a zombie right now, so does that count?
So there you go. Yeah, that counts. Yeah. Perfect. That's exactly what I was talking about. I did start the morning watching Evil Dead 2, so that's how you start every morning. I did finish. I don't know if you're interested in the Mike Flanagan shows at all. I don't know if we talked about this, but
I've never heard of it.
The Fall of the House of Usher.
I've been hearing about this, but no, I don't think I'm interested.
So if you're an Edgar Allan Poe fan, huge thing there. But overall, I mean, I'll watch all his shows because he's a great horror writer. So he did like the Haunting of Bly Manor, Hill House, very solid show. And then I finished the I don't know if you were watching this, Chris, the Continental, the John Wick spinoff.
No, because I gotta get through the movies first. Then
I will. Okay, which did you finish on John Wick 2?
John Wick 1.
Okay.
Because as I was watching John Wick on Peacock,
mm-hmm.
This little indie movie that I love called Back to the Future came, so I've been watching that.
Okay, that's acceptable though. Yeah. So be prepared though. The Continental is like 3 movies. It's a 3-part miniseries, and they're all like an hour to 30, an hour to 40 minutes long.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was looking through it.
And it's like the origin story of Winston, who owns the hotel. Really cool. Really interesting. Some really interesting characters that they bring in. And Mel Gibson, I had no idea he was the villain. Was really good. Very strange, but yeah, he's just a little over the top with like a New York accent. It's pretty great.
Dude, speaking of controversial actors, I know there's a lot of issues around Jonathan Majors and what may or may not have happened with this woman.
Yeah, kind of like that. You don't really hear much about that anymore.
Yeah, and I still don't know the whole story, and I'm not going to place judgment on somebody until I know the whole story. But god damn it, can that dude act?
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
We'll talk more about Loki later, but like when you brought Mel Gibson, it made me think of it. Like that dude is so fucking good. And that's what I think about like Mel Gibson. Like he said some crazy shit in his days, and he's not exactly the best of people, but
I'm surprised he got cast for this, but I guess he's just like got that crazy old man energy now. So
they forgot about the anti-Jew shit he said.
Yeah, which is really weird because he plays a very religious character in the Continental.
Wasn't he like extremely Catholic or something?
Yeah. Well, in the show he is. Yeah.
Oh no, I mean in real life, because he's
Yeah, in
the
real
one that
life
did.
too. Yeah, he
He
did
directed Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ, but his character in the Continental is also super over the top Catholic.
So not a far stretch then.
Yeah, he talks to God a lot. I think he's just playing himself. Actually, they just happen to film it. At one point, there's like they make like a special drug concoction for him, and he like breathes it in, and he keeps getting high off the fumes, and he's like takes a deep breath, and he starts saying some crazy shit, and then he takes another deep breath, starts saying more crazy shit, and I was just like, what is? How did we get here?
Is this a movie or is this a documentary of Mel Gibson's life?
It might be. I think they kind of just built everything around Mel Gibson going on a binge.
It's like, we got Gibson.
Of drugs.
Let's make him do some crazy shit.
He's like, give me those drugs. All right, so we have some TV news. The Boys, Gen V has been renewed for a second season. Nice.
From the 3 episodes I've watched, well deserved.
Nice. I don't know what episode we're on now.
7.
7
came out.
So I've watched 6 episodes, and I will say it's very good. There's some weird shit that happens where like they start to forget things, and then you like a couple episodes revolves around that, like who's making them forget things and like wiping their memory. So there's some controversy there. But you see a lot of the characters interacting more, which is great. And then we see somebody from one of the big shows comes in, and don't want to spoil it, but episode 6, I believe he shows up, and
that's already been spoiled for me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
Soldier Boy shows up, and he's great because he's like one of the persons and like in their mind as like one of their boyfriends. It's really funny.
Yeah. I want to catch up with it. Just crazy. It feels like all the time there's something going on right now, but that will be calming down because my parents left for Florida.
Nice.
And they're usually the ones that are like, we're doing a big family thing this weekend.
Yeah.
I usually find out on Friday that it's Sunday morning.
Schedule, fit it into your schedule now. Yeah.
So now that they're like a million miles away, my schedule will clear up real quick.
There you go.
But yeah, I want to catch up with that. There's a few other, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I'd love to catch up on, but that's one that's really big for me because I did love those first 3 episodes.
So I am watching Ahsoka, everybody. I haven't finished Rebels. I know you can be upset that it's
fucking poser.
I started season 1 of Rebels to like get the characters. I'm gonna catch up after. Ahsoka's really good though, not knowing a whole lot about Rebels. I kind of get the gist, and even if like they do a pretty good job of explaining things. Like I didn't know that much going into it besides like that, oh, I've seen these characters before, but like they kind of are like, okay, we got to go here. This dude's a bad guy. This person sacrificed himself for his friends, and they all really love him. And we got to get him back. And Thrawn is a baddie. That's what I keep getting. They're like, no, not Thrawn. Dude. Every episode, they're like, not Thrawn. No.
It's really just a secretly super racist series because the blue guy has to be the bad guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's always, why is it the blue guy? The Blue Man Group.
It's actually funny because if you get into the Thrawn novels, which I know you won't, Mike,
no.
But if you ever do, one of the storylines of that is that the Empire is like super racist.
Oh.
And they're super like humanist. I can't remember if this is the old continuity or the new one.
I never realized that all the Empire is humans, though.
Is white dudes, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
if you watch the new series, now we have like white women involved.
Well, yeah, the new order is really woke. Like they got a black dude in the stormtrooper outfit and everything. It's cool.
Yep.
That was a joke, everybody. I'm not actually, yeah. But anyways, the original Empire.
Moving on.
Is that so for Thrawn to make his way up like that, being an alien, like first and foremost, was like really big because he's just constantly treated like shit his entire way up the ladder. So that shows like his,
No,
really interesting.
Yeah, you don't think about that because like when you see all the officers like in the movies, yeah, you're right. There's no alien races involved at all.
Yeah, because the original Empire was based on Nazi Germany, hence stormtroopers. And it was almost on accident and then retconned later because in the 70s it's really hard to put a bunch of people, like hire a bunch of people to put them in makeup.
Yeah.
It's much easier to just get a bunch of people together and be like, here you go.
It's a lot harder to brainwash people as the Empire to rule the galaxy when they all don't look the same either.
Listen, Mike.
Yeah.
We all know how white dudes act.
Yeah, right. They and you got to think like, oh, if we start putting people in charge of these alien races that we've already murdered their planets, that probably wouldn't look good. Oh shit, we destroyed your planet. I do want to see the Calamar First Order officer though.
Oh man.
Like, oh, you Jedi scum. Just like one of the Calamar guys wearing like a little tiny hat.
Can we just
where are the lasers?
Can someone this is terrible. This is gonna get canceled. But could somebody retcon so Star Wars takes place a long, long time ago. So let's retcon that the Calamar are actually the people that come to Earth and form Germany, and they're the real First Reich.
There you go.
And then evolve into whatever we are now.
Calamar Nazis.
By the way, everybody, I'm like 60% German. Because I think that'd be hilarious. Can we move on, Mike? Before I say something
terrible. Calamar. I'm trying to think of what his name would be. But I just want to see an evil version of him or one of his people, because he died a long time ago, I guess, according to this timeline.
Who's this?
Mon Calamar. What's
there's I believe there's a Sith Calamar.
Is there? That's amazing.
Oh, I can't spell.
I just want I want to hear insults coming from one of those guys because their voices are so ridiculous. Like, does he wear a hood? Is there like a hood covering his giant head?
Let's see. Oh, here we go. Wikipedia, the greatest website on earth.
For all your Star Wars information, all your Star Wars lore needs. There has to be somebody has had to have thought of it. If it was just me saying this now, there's been enough writers and people involved with the Star Wars universe.
Oh yeah, like what's this dude? That's just fan art, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, this is just turned into weird Mon Calamar shit. The podcast.
Yeah, he's my favorite person, to be honest. Who can spot a trap? He can spot a trap from a mile away.
You can spot a trap. You make good raps.
Yeah, nice.
Moving on.
Okay. So either way, I'm liking Ahsoka, everybody. Even if you haven't watched all of Rebels, which I have not. So long story short, it's good. Yeah. Reminds me a lot of Japanese cinema. The lightsaber battles are a lot like, I would say the lightsaber battles are better in this than in like the new movies. And the new movies, there's a lot of chopping and hacking. Like, but this one, it's like an art form, and I like it. Yeah. So
dealing with more trained people than untrained in the new one. So I think the lightsaber battles make sense in the new movies, but it does my heart well to know that people like you are enjoying it.
But why does Ahsoka? So for my knowledge, why does she only use one lightsaber sometimes and sometimes two lightsabers? Or did something happen where she goes from 2 to 1? She lose a lightsaber?
No, she's always had 2 in Clone Wars.
Because she has 2 in like the start of Ahsoka, and then she when she fights people like one-on-one, she only uses 1.
She likes to switch it up. Variety is the spice of life, Mike.
Okay, I do like her lightsabers. They're like katanas, though, like the hilt of them.
Yeah,
I do think that's sick, and I kind of want to buy a replica one. But
do you know the lore behind her white lightsabers?
No, I don't.
Okay, so the way a Jedi creates a white lightsaber.
So
do you know how the Sith create red lightsabers?
Nope.
Okay, they infuse the kyber crystal with so much hate and anger that it turns red.
That's sick.
And the way a white lightsaber is created is by a Jedi extracting that hate and anger from a red lightsaber kyber crystal and purifying it.
Wow. That's pretty sick.
Yeah. I know some pretty useless shit, Mike.
Long story short, bring Chris to Star Wars trivia, everybody. I know the science behind the kyber crystals. I do know what a kyber crystal is. I watched Rogue One. Was it Rogue One that was in? Yeah.
Listen, ladies, if you want some kyber crystal knowledge, I am single.
He's your guy. JediMastersOnly.com. It probably exists. All right, Loki season 2, episode 3. I need to catch up on this. I will after Ahsoka, but how was it?
Really great episode. We talked earlier about Majors being a great actor, and he like just takes this episode, makes it his own, man. Like the character he's playing here, Victor Timely, which is a variant of Kang, is just so drastically different from Kang that it's unbelievable. Like he's a very smart, like think Einstein but with a stutter. Like that's
his last name is Timely.
Yeah, Victor Timely.
Okay.
So Victor Timely is somebody in the comics that Kang went back in time and placed himself as Victor Timely, an inventor.
Okay.
So but they have him back at the TVA, and they're trying to save the TVA. And at that same time, the Rogue group comes in and they're fighting and everything. It's a real back and forth episode as they're trying to fix the time weave that creates the timeline. And it's really fucking anticlimactic, but I loved it because they spend the whole episode being like, we need a Kang variant for this.
Yeah.
And he's got to open the door. He's the only one that can do it and this and that. They get him. They put him in the big bodysuit. He's going to take most of the episode is like them creating this device that's they're going to put in this thing, and that's going to solve the problem. And he walks out the door and just dies.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And that leads to what we think is the end of the TVA. Now, I have my doubts, Mike. You know why?
Why is that?
Because this was episode 4 of an 8-episode series.
I think you're onto something there, Chris. I think you're onto something.
But it was a really great cliffhanger ending. Most of the episode is just fantastic. A lot of back and forth, people turning on each other. It's kind of a hinge episode where everything past this is going to change what the series is. And it made me so excited to get into next week and watch. And I always say the best way to tell that a good cliffhanger just happened is if I get up and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want it to end. I want to know what happens next. So
right. You want
that's
more.
What this one did.
That's cool.
I think it's been a really great season so far.
Nice.
And your boy, Short Round, was really good in this too.
Yeah. He's been in every episode. He wasn't just a one-off character.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm glad he got to be in more than one episode. So
yeah, he's actually like a main character. Like, he's not like obviously Loki and Owen Wilson are the main characters, but he's part of the crew in like every episode. They're always going to him. He's involved with the whole shenanigans. So
nice.
Yeah, he's really good in this.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Comic news. There's some leftover news that hit after the New York Comic Con episode. It seems that the Star Wars line at Marvel isn't going to move forward with post Return of the Jedi content, but instead go to the past with content set before the events of the Clone Wars. Interesting move, Chris.
Bold move, Cotton.
Yeah. The first series will be Star Wars Mace Windu, which I did see, which will be Marvel's second Mace Windu series, which will be written by Mark Bernardin with art by Jorge Ginty. Mark Bernardin writing a Mace Windu book. I'm pumped for that.
When we're done, I'll talk about the overall initiative. But if we're gonna go back to that time, you better give me a fucking Mace Windu book.
Yeah, and Mark Bernardin writing it. I love Mark Bernardin. So
yeah, and I'm down for this book in particular.
Yep. Second series will replace the long-running Star Wars Bounty Hunter series, is titled Star Wars Jango Fett. The Jango series will be written by Ethan Sachs, who also wrote the Bounty Hunter series with art by Luke Ross. Finally, we get a comic adaptation of the Star Wars novel Star Wars Thrawn Alliances and will go by the same name. Will be adapted by Timothy Zahn, the novel's writer, and Jody Houser, with art by Andrea DeVito and Pat Olive. There's no word about the future of the series, like Star Wars Dr. Aphra, and Star Wars Darth Vader. Chris, you got to be pretty pumped for that.
So the Django book, I mean, it's basically Boba Fett. So
yeah, Django's whatever, right?
I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna read it. I buy almost all of the Star Wars books. I don't buy the adaptations of the TV shows or the adaptations of movies, but like the new content. And the Bounty Hunter book's been really good under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
And Django's a cool enough character. I mean, he doesn't do much other than get his head chopped off in the movies. So you can really do whatever and tell some cool stories. So I think there's something really cool that can be done there, and I'm down to go along that ride. The Thrawn stuff, that's one adaptation I will get. I have the other Thrawn adaptation they did, and I love Thrawn. Obviously he's becoming a big character in the TV show world, soon to be movie world. He's just a great villain. So any way to get him out there, and what a perfect time to do so, because everybody's talking about Thrawn right now. So yeah, I'm down for these. I think the idea of as a whole of going back to that timeline as opposed to moving forward, we don't know 100% that's what they're doing, but this really, really hints to, well, if you're going to cancel a main book, because there's been 3 main Star Wars books. It's been Star Wars, Darth Vader, and Star Wars Bounty Hunters. And then Dr. Aphra kind of spun out of Darth Vader and has done her own thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're canceling Bounty Hunters to bring out Jango Fett, that really does hint to me that when we get Star Wars #1 again, it's going to be set in that timeline. And then who knows what, like, I could see Aphra moving on and them just keeping that because she's a popular character.
Right.
But the Vader book, who knows what they do. Personally, I think that General Grievous is a really cool character that didn't get enough shine, and had some kind of corny moments in Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a cool character to follow around. But my main disappointment is I wanted to see what happened to these characters after Return of the Jedi. I wanted a little bit more of Luke and his story, but it seems like Disney's set on letting Filoni and crew take care of that.
Do their thing, yeah.
Yeah. So, tiny bit disappointed, but I don't hate that timeline like a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
I really only think the Clone Wars movie is the only thing in that timeline that's just like really bad.
Yeah.
In terms of the movies. Phantom Menace is a fine enough movie. It's not great. And then Revenge of the Sith is a good movie. It just doesn't live up to the original ones. So there's some cool stuff to be done there. We'll see what else they have to announce in the near future.
Yeah, it's shaking things up for sure, though.
Yeah, it's like I said, it is a bold move, like to go that direction.
Yeah, to completely shift.
Yeah, because a part of me thought they would even go and just start telling in between 7 and 8.
Right.
There was a big part of me that was like, that's what's going to happen. We're going to get the Star Wars book about Rey, and then we're going to get the Kylo Ren book, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
but not so much.
James Tynion IV and Dark Horse Comics announced the sequel to James Tynion's Blue Book. The new volume, entitled Blue Book 1947, will feature art from returning artist Michael Avon Oeming. This series will take place 14 years before the first volume. It'll be about Kenneth Arnold's UFO sighting near Mount Rainier. Cool. I have not read the first series, but that is definitely something that interests me.
Yeah, that's one of the sightings that's known as like the beginning of UFOlogy.
Yeah,
I don't know how you say that word. I've
something
only
like
read
that.
it, but it's kind of the beginning of the whole UFO conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting they're going that way. I thought the first volume was really good. It is a very unique read. I mean, in that it's these people see a UFO, and then it's how does that sighting affect their life, mostly negatively, but negatively and positively. So it's really a slice of life book just about some people that may or may not be crazy.
Yeah, right.
So I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to this one a lot.
I think it is interesting. Like I watched when they came out with the second new season of um, Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix. They had the one episode about a UFO sighting, and like the UFO sighting was really interesting. But you also had a guy whose career was completely ruined because he reached out and told people that that's what was happening. Like he saw it on the radar that night, and people had like the police had called him and been like, "Hey, did you see anything?" He goes, "Yeah, I saw something that I couldn't explain." And then like he had to quit his job and move because like people were just shitting on him all the time.
And that's the first Blue Book is kind of that. Like this
Yeah.
couple has to go to therapy. They do like hypnotherapy to figure out if it, like, did they get brainwashed by the government or something? You know, like
Yeah.
they do all this weird shit because they told people their story and they were just immediately told that they were whack jobs, but they firmly believe that they saw what they saw. And
Crazy.
believe them or not, like that's what they believed. And I think it's a good book. I like I said, but it's hard to really recommend to a lot of people because it's a very unique book.
Right.
Yeah.
Lastly, Titan Comics announced the first comic based on Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon movies. This comic will be titled Rebel Moon: House of Blood Axe. Will debut in January. It will be written by Mags Visaggio with art by Clark Bent. I did watch the Rebel Moon trailer. It looked like a movie that I would check out. Hopefully, it's like coherent with the plot. But we'll see. I can't remember when the movie comes out.
December.
December?
Netflix.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, because I think I said when it first happened that it reminds me, it's somewhere in between Dune and Star Wars, which, you know me,
yeah,
that should raise some flags right away.
Right.
But it's also directed by Zack Snyder, who has a tricky track record.
After Sucker Punch, I will not be deceived again with a very nice trailer.
I think Zach has done so. His Dawn of the Dead movie is great.
Yep,
is legitimately great. His Army of the Dead movie is pretty good. I enjoyed it, but where he's thrived was exact adaptations. So 300 and Watchmen. Now I know people hate Watchmen, but really outside of the ending, which is mostly the same to all the haters out there, they are 1-for-1 adaptations.
Yeah,
for the most part. Where he fails is when he tries to like do his own thing, aka Sucker Punch, aka Batman v Superman, so on and so forth. I know you disagree with me on the Batman one, but
yeah,
I'm interested in this movie. Now, the problem with this is someone like me, that means the orders for this go up this month, well, next month in November. I ain't ordering a prequel book for a movie I haven't seen.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. It seems like if it's a prequel book, the movie's not out yet. The timing is very strange, and not having Zack Snyder's name on the book, like as a co-writer.
I think it's. I just realized I have like. Yeah, I had covers I was going to show during the show. Okay. But yeah, we're playing this by ear.
Yeah, that's all right.
So let me see. I'm looking at it because it's said to be based on his notes.
Okay, so he wrote notes or something.
So he has like a world biography,
or
maybe that, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
but he has the world set and like what happened and this and that, and so it's based on that.
Okay.
It's not like he's not involved in some way because when this was announced, if you remember, it was supposed to be comics, movies, TV shows, and video games. Like it was. This was Netflix big thing. This is gonna be their Star Wars or whatever. So he's involved. I don't think his name wasn't on any of the covers though. It doesn't say Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. Just says Rebel Moon.
Interesting.
But we'll see. I mean, hopefully for Titan that a final cutoff is after the movie comes out. You
guys got to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about what we read. I had some stuff that I was catching up on. I haven't read any books from this week, but just some stuff that I read. I read the Batman Superman World's Finest number 20. That was when that's when we go back to Kingdom Come.
Yep.
I thought it was a really cool issue. Anything involving Kingdom Come is really good, but I think Mark Waid, I mean, it's his universe, right? So he did a great job bringing them back there and having the interactions, and they're trying to find David, who's like gone off the deep end. Green Lantern War Journal #2.
Real quick about World's Finest.
Oh yeah,
I also read it. I really liked it. I think he needs to do a little bit more with the Kingdom Come stuff.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's after one issue, everybody. So I am very open to changing my opinion once the story's done. But after one issue, it feels like a gimmick. Because it feels like we could have thrown this kid anywhere.
Right.
And had the same.
We need more involvement from the Kingdom Come characters.
Yeah. But I did like that moment where they're time jumping.
Uh-huh.
And they see all the heroes' graves.
Yeah.
That was a great moment. Cool. But yeah, good issue.
We didn't talk about this, Chris. Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong #1. Buccoletto and Duce on the art. Reduce.
All right. Don't you worry. I'll just find this giant pile. Boom.
There it is. Nice. Basically, the Legion of Doom ends up on Skull Island. And like makes a wish to get all the monsters back to the DC Earth to fight Superman because they want to fight Superman. So like the issue ends with like Godzilla arriving on the DC Earth, which is kind of, all right, now I'm ready for them to fight. But I think it was an interesting way to kind of tie it all together. It's like the Legion of Doom trying to fight Superman with these monsters.
I want to make one correction because I find it really funny.
Yeah.
The Legion goes to the Skull Island, not knowing where they are.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't the Legion that wished for the monsters to come. It was Toyman.
Oh, yeah, it was Toyman. Yeah, that's right.
Who just gets shit on this entire issue.
Yeah, they're like, you're terrible. What do you just have toys? And he's like, well, now I have bigger toys.
And I love that Gorilla Grodd goes missing, and it's because he found a Gorilla God in Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a really great issue, but it's something that you say a lot. Like, I would have liked to see more Godzilla in my Godzilla comic, but
thank you. I didn't say it this time because I feel like a broken record, Chris, every time I read a Godzilla book. But it's like, guys, if you have a Godzilla in the title of a book, please give me more than one page of Godzilla. All right, just one, like a few pages is all I'm asking.
If for anyone out there willing to correct Mike, yes, it was like 2 or 3 pages, but it was the same page done 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Because they literally redo the intro and the ending.
Yes, they do.
But my hype's still up there for this.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a good setup, and I'm ready for the rest of it for sure. Green Lantern War Journal #2, Johnson and Montos. Yeah, Green Lantern gets attacked by the zombie lanterns, and he gets hit and he's infected, so we'll see where that pans out. I'm still really liking this book though.
John
Stewart, the John Stewart Lantern.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of backstory in this issue, and the only thing I don't know. I've had some dealings with people that have Alzheimer's in my life, and John's mom. Well, they don't outright say she has Alzheimer's, but they kind of hinted in the first issue.
Yeah.
And then this issue, she seems like just fine.
Right. Yeah.
So I was a little confused by that, but that was kind of a tiny thing that I was thinking about during the issue.
Yeah, I did notice that too.
Other than that, I like that John's like infected at the end of this issue now because he got stabbed with a zombie sword.
We'll have to see what happens to him. I did read Cap Wolf and the Howling Commandos by Stephanie Phillips and Magno on the art.
Damn right.
I thought it was awesome. It was a lot of fun, like you said. A lot bloodier than I thought it would be for a Captain America book. Wesley Dodds, Sandman #1, Venditti and Rossmo. I don't know if you talked about this one already.
I did, but
I thought it was an interesting first issue of him. Like, he's trying to sell that gas to the army to be like a peace gas, and then someone steals the plans and his home gets burned down. I think it's an interesting approach for the Sandman character. He was always like a throwaway, like some dude on the streets, and him to be like this big plans guy that invented this gas and wants to like market it, or not market it, but like save the world with it. It's kind of interesting. Jay Garrick, The Flash, #1, Adam and Olortegui. This was interesting. It's a story about Judy Garrick is back, which we saw at the end of the whole Stargirl series. She was taken from time during this fight with Dr. Elemental. So like she was an integral part of that, and now that she's back, she's kind of like, you know, when we took down Dr. Elemental and the Flash and his wife Joan, I think, are like, no, Dr. Elemental's still around, and so Dr. Elemental was never taken down in the past because she's back. So I'm sure there's some repercussions there. Something's going to happen. But it was a good issue for sure. So
did they run really fast?
Yes, they did. Oh. That one deals with like this timeline and then the past timeline, because even Jay was like, in the past he was kind of like, we never had a daughter, and then like when he sees her now, he like remembers her. So there's like something weird happening.
Oh, they do that moment from the JSA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Superman 7, Williamson, Melanikov, and this is the anniversary edition. Because there's some other stuff going on in the issue, but
it's the oversized issue 850.
Yeah, anniversary issue or whatever.
So right there
it is. Superman fighting the chained villain, which was interesting. While he's there, Lex's mother and daughter shows up to him at the hospital because he's still in the hospital after he got shanked in prison. And then we see Brainiac like getting ready to conquer the Earth as the big bad. So a lot of things are in play here in the Superman book's been really good, and I'm a huge Brainiac fan. To see him come back is great.
Yeah, and he's got some Lobo people with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Lobo twins or whatever.
So I forget what the race is called now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought all in all it was a really great issue. I'm calling out Marvel here. This is how you do an oversized issue.
Yeah.
The entire book is the story.
It's one story
that goes into the rest of the series. It doesn't have a backup story by bumfuck nobody that I don't care about.
Bumfuck nobody. We're actually interviewing him. We're interviewing bumfuck nobody next week, so watch what you say.
It gets so like, and sometimes it's like with backup story, like the Thor one or it doesn't matter. It'll be a backup story by Frank Miller, and I'm like, oh, I like Frank Miller, and I read it, I'm like, yeah, but like, why?
Yeah, why did you do that story?
Like, you charged me more for a story I didn't want. Like, I want, like, yeah. So that's how you do an oversized issue, everybody. Marvel, do that, please. So I don't feel like I wasted my money just to keep my collection going. But it was a great issue.
And it was funny because when I did see that it was an anniversary issue, I like heavy sighed, like, oh fuck, here we go. all these shitty stories in there that I don't want to read. And then when I finished the issue, Chris, I was like, wait, where's all the backup stories?
Yeah.
I was like, where are they? Oh wait, oh my god, this is all about the current timeline. I'm like, this is great.
It was awesome. It was refreshing.
Yeah. It was like, imagine doing that.
Yeah.
More of that.
Good issue.
So, yeah, really good issue. That's all I had. I got a lot of stuff from this week I need to read. I did go to a comic shop in the middle of driving between like Ohio and Detroit last week. And I stopped in this Keith's Comics, I believe. I don't remember where in Ohio it was. And I he had a bunch of back issues of Barbaric and the new series, the old series, the one shot. So I collected a bunch of those, and I think I might have the full set of everything.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I was pretty excited to see that.
Yeah. Cool. Shout out to Keith Comics then.
Keith's Comics.
So I'm gonna go quick through most of these, but this is gonna be this week, next week. I got them all mixed up. Normally I have them in order so I can do them correctly, but fuck it.
That's right. Fuck it.
Marvel Zombies, Red, White, and Blood. Fun issue, but so the Daredevil story wasn't what it was advertised to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of just like cage fight Daredevil, and then Punisher puts a giant bomb on him to kill people. I like the Spider-Man story because it's Spider-Man trying to save people at the Daily Bugle, and then zombie Aunt May comes and he has to like deal with the repercussions of that.
Nice.
And then the last one is a Moon Knight story where Ra takes over zombie Iron Man and controls him to fight Moon Knight. And then doing that, Moon Knight gets bitten. And now Khonshu has a zombie under his control. So it was a cool couple cool stories. I always like Marvel zombies.
Yeah, they sound fun.
Universal Monsters Dracula #1.
Oh.
Sequel to the movie.
Nice.
So this follows Renfield and his plans to kind of help Dracula. I think my main criticism here is I like the art. It's Martin Simmons who does Department of Truth with Tynion, and Tynion's the writer on this as well.
Mm-hmm.
But his art can be hard to follow. For instance, if you can see that, like he does kind of watercolor, and it's almost blurred. So it does take time to get used to it. But I thought the story was really good, and it leans into a lot of the elements from the original Universal Monsters version of Dracula, and just kind of extends it, especially bringing in Renfield and all of his issues. So I like that one if you're a Dracula fan. Batman Beyond Neo-Gothic #4.
Yes.
This is how you do origin stories, everybody.
Oh boy.
Because we get the Catboy's origin story in this, and it's done as part of the story while going back in time and retelling what happened. It's like 3 pages and then we're out.
Nice.
On top of that, it's them kind of descending into this abyss, and it leans heavily into the animated universe stuff. So the art actually changes at one point to a style that resembles the New Adventures of Batman and Batman Beyond.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then kind of dives in and out because they're hallucinating throughout the issue. And then we kind of get the Court of Owls Batman's big plan at the end and find out that there's someone else that's involved. And I think you're going to enjoy who's involved, Mike.
Oh, boy.
Captain America #2. Captain America's Landlord #2. This issue actually is mostly in the past where we're dealing with that, like those Nazi group people that are like doing stuff in New York City and trying to get sympathy from America prior to World War II.
Okay.
Or before World War II. Prior is before, right?
Yes.
Okay, I said that right.
Yeah, you did.
Second guessing myself left and right today. And how Steve, even back then, was kind of standing up to them and saying, like, no, like, they show one of the speeches where they're talking about it, and he says in the middle of the speech to this guy on a podium, like, yeah, like you say all this, but what about the concentration camps? And then the guy's like, listen, there's no concentration camps, they're just work camps, and they actually live very comfortably in those work.
Oh my God.
Like,
yeah,
the shit you've heard in history class.
Oh yeah.
But it's stuff like that. So it was really interesting to see him in the past fighting against that. He stands up for some Orthodox Jewish people who get beaten up by some not neo-Nazis, but actual Nazis back then and everything. There's a lot of cool moments. And then in the present, it's just him being a landlord, which I still think is kind of weird.
Yeah.
I think they should have just set this book in the past.
Yeah.
But there was one fun moment where Spider-Man comes to him for help because he has broken ribs, and the Sinister Six are after him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Doc Ock's the one that's putting it all together. So he goes, "Can you come help me? And like we'll stake out this place tonight, and that way, like I have someone watching my back." And like the battle just never happens, so they're just sitting out in this ledge for hours.
Wow.
Like looking out, and then they find out, like, oh yeah, like Doc Ock had something across town, so he couldn't come. So it's gonna happen another time. That was a really funny moment.
What the hell?
I Hate Fairyland #10 was another. At this point, this book is what it is. It's I Hate Fairyland, and I like that now we're 10 issues in. We've fully gotten rid of adult Gert. We've moved on to kind of retcon so that we have child Gert again.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to be the center point of the story. And in this, they find a way to get Claudia, the Empress of Fairyland, out of prison to get a key to try to escape. But Claudia backstabs him at the last minute. She ends up using the key to go to the real world, leaving Gert behind. So it was an interesting issue. Avengers Inc. number 2. Won't get too much in that, but I really like this book. It's Avengers meets kind of like crime noir kind of stuff. So we've got a murder mystery in this one. That's really fun.
Your
Scrappers.
favorite?
What's that?
I said your favorite.
Oh yeah. And what's actually interesting getting into it is the guy. So in the first issue, I told you that someone took over. What's the villain's name? I'm zoning now. Whirlwind's body.
Okay.
And that person is calling himself Victor Shade.
Interesting.
Oh my God. Which is Vision's surname.
Oh, okay.
So she actually gets Vision to meet him, and like he has the little thing in his head too to look like Vision.
Yeah.
And to kind of confront him to see what happens. So that was a cool interaction. Scrappers number 4, another fun little book about a dog who can talk and is fighting against a megacorp. I just think it's a really fun book. I always enjoyed Cliff Bleszinski back in my harder gaming days. And I think he's got a really cool story here. So I think more people should check it out. Daredevil number 2 is, so things are going crazy in New York. Matt's back to being Daredevil and fighting against this new crime gang in town. But at the same time, he's trying to run this missionary. And there's somebody out there that's trying to stop the missionary and ends up calling the cops on him, accusing him of all this stuff. And he finds out that the person behind it is actually an old friend from the Daily Bugle named Ben Urich.
Okay.
Which longtime Marvel fans know is just like Ben Marvel's go-to, like, we need a reporter in this story.
Yeah.
It's Ben. I'm pretty sure he's the lead character in the Marvels book that Alex Ross did. And then we got Guardians of the Galaxy number 7, which centers around Hulkling and Wiccan as they try to find the Guardians in Groot space. And they do. But there's something definitely wrong with them as they come out of the Groot verse or whatever the hell we're calling it.
Yeah.
And their mission is to go there and figure out what's going on so they can go back to the council of the different planets and figure out what to do next, whether they should invade Groot space or they should just leave it alone or whatever. And they come to the conclusion they should leave it alone, try to hold a vote. But Star-Lord's sister, quote unquote, who's in charge of Spartacus now, basically says, fuck that, we're going in there. And so we're going to get a big battle coming soon.
Nice. Blade
number 4, Mike.
Oh, nice.
It's the big train heist issue.
Yeah, because they got to get the weapon on the train.
Yeah, Lucifer's sword.
Yeah.
Really great issue. Just a lot of good stuff here. I won't spoil too much, but a lot of good train heisting, a lot of good vampire killing. The Blade book's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really like that series.
And then I got a couple manga and a couple Kickstarter books I want to spotlight. Read Kaiju number 8, volume 2.
Nice.
It's still really good.
I think the new volume came out. I have to get.
Yeah, volume 8 just came out.
Yeah, Kaiju number 8, number 8.
There you go. I read the Joker manga.
Oh, I bought that one. Yeah, I haven't read it yet.
It's exactly as advertised, Mike.
Yeah, the babies.
So, Joker and Batman are fighting, and Joker dumps Batman into a vat of acid, thinking that he killed him. Mm-hmm. What he finds out is it was a de-aging formula that was supposed to help people look younger.
Oh my god.
And it worked so well that it turned Batman into a baby.
Of course it did.
So now Joker's a single dad trying to take care of this baby, but he needs to make sure that he grows up with a strong sense of justice so that he can become Batman, so that Joker
He can
can
fight
fight
him.
Batman.
Makes sense. It really, when you
And
think
prove
about it,
and prove that justice is bullshit.
it
And
really
it's
makes
just
sense.
like single dad stuff. And then like Harley Quinn shows up and she like smashes everything, and he's just like, come on, like, lady, like, I'm trying to raise a kid here.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing smashing everything?
It's a lot of fun.
Okay, I'm glad I got it.
So more volumes are coming out too. So I'm really, that's definitely gonna be on the read list. Okay, so we got Hospice. One damn good thing. So did you see this on Kickstarter?
Yeah, there's a lot of hospice books, right? There's different ones.
So this was a thing that a bunch of creators we know did.
Yeah.
That is one shared universe, but they're each doing their own like one shot inside of it, and it
Mm-hmm.
revolves around this hospice home, and that's basically it. And we find out in this issue that the hospice home is a place for like people who had done bad things go there to die, but when they die, there's actually like demonic entities inside of them that are released,
Oh,
and the hospice home is like sheltering them.
interesting.
And this one's all about this guy who finds out that he has these demons inside of him and doesn't want them. Like, he's done bad things, but he doesn't consider himself a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes back and he tries to, like, in his last couple days, he gives the money he stole to his daughter and then does all this stuff and decides he's just going to go kill himself, and basically does it in the most brutal way possible to ensure that there's no body left for the demons to take over.
Mm.
So the first of like, I backed all 4 or 5 of them. And this is the first one. This is Russell Nolte that did this one.
Okay.
And it was pretty good.
Cool.
All in all. So we'll see. Out of the group, there was one person I had never heard of before, and I can't remember her name. And then Russell was the one I would be least likely to read a book by. So for him to be the first impression of this and I liked it, bodes well for the rest of them.
Cool.
And then Clash of the Cryptids.
Oh yeah,
Number
there
one.
you go.
This is all about this like island where all the cryptids live,
Mm-hmm.
and people go there on this like tournament to try to subdue them. And it's basically like a hunting tournament kind of thing. And basically, like the lead character, it's an easy premise where his kid's sick, the medical bills are really high, so he's offered to go to this place, do it, and it'll pay for his kid's medical bills. So he decides to go and do it. And the person that's doing it is in charge of some pharmaceutical company that wants the cryptid because he believes that they could lead to like some sort of medicine that will help people. But when they get there, they find out that not only are they not allowed to kill them, they can only subdue them, but the cryptids are really fucking brutal. So the issue ends with them finding a bunch of the other people like hanging and bloody and all this.
Nice. It's like Predator.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That is a great comparison. It's a really good book. I don't even think you need to be like a cryptid guy. Like, obviously that's what pulled me in.
Right.
But I just think if you like action or like kind of somewhat horror vibes,
cool.
This is a book you'd really like. So
sounds great.
I'll keep everybody. I'll let everybody know when issue 2 hits Kickstarter because I really liked it.
Nice.
And then, did I read anything digitally? Batman. Oh, Big Game number 4 came out.
Oh yeah.
Mike, why aren't you reading this book?
I know. It's on my list. Every time an issue comes out, I add it to the list. I'm going to read them all in like one sitting.
So remember last issue when we found out that like Kick-Ass was going to come, and he was like, because Joe Biden told him to?
Yeah, right.
Which I still find hilarious. So we find out that all the heroes got that message, and it was a fake message. It was a deep fake from the villains.
Of course it was.
And they got him on this boat and then just killed them all.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
But because Kick-Ass was out there helping somebody who had her purse stolen, he never made it to the boat. So he's still out there somewhere. And then Hit Girl was sent back in time when she was trying to save the Chrononauts.
Mm-hmm.
And she found a way. so she found out there's this like civilization at the beginning of time on Earth, and has an interaction with them. And when they find out that they're no longer in charge of the planet in the future, they decide they're going to use that time jump to go into the future and just take over. So the issue ends with all the heroes dead except for Kick-Ass and Hit Girl. The Magic Order is still around, but they're still going, ain't my fucking problem.
Yeah, we're too strong for this.
Nemesis is still around because he's really good at killing heroes. The Wanted folk are still around because they're the big bad that's doing all this. And this like futuristic civilization from the past just time jumps into the future and it's just like, this is our planet now.
Crazy.
And issue 5 is the last issue. So like,
we'll see how it plays out.
Dude, this fucking book is crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
And I love that like Millar's just like, we're wiping the slate clean on keeping these characters and nothing else. And like all these books I've been working on for years were fucking meaningless.
Yeah, nothing. They're getting wiped clean. We're starting over.
I love it.
That's awesome.
So Mike, that was everything I read the past 2 weeks.
Nice.
Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter. And if you want to follow some more shenanigans of mine, you can go to chrisscomicscorner.substack.com. And if you want to follow the show, you can go to at @FortressComics_ on Twitter and also at FortressComicNews.com. Remember, everybody, to like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the YouTube version, to give the 5-star reviews on podcatchers, and to go ahead and visit patreon.com/FortressComics for more. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening this week. And I will see you all here Friday with my interview with Charlie Stickney, but we will see you all here next week.